Hey guys, what's up? It's CYPHER here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my first impressions on Valorant. I've been playing this ever since the closed beta became available, and I've got to say, I've been enjoying my time playing this game, but that's to be expected simply because I've put a lot of time into any modern day first person shooter that you can name. I put a ton of hours into CSGO, I put a ton of hours into Rainbow Six Siege, and I've played like a moderate amount of Overwatch. Overwatch was one of the games that I wasn't the biggest fan of because of the way that it was played, basically. But it was still a game that I was interested in whenever it originally came out and whenever the competitive scene started to sort of flourish, I guess you could say. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing Valorant. That's to be expected. I don't think it's going to be a game that everybody enjoys, but what I can say is that if you have any interest at all in competitive first-person shooters, Valorant is going to be a game that you're going to want to check out because it has a promising future ahead of it with the amount of hype that it's got so far, right? So you see a lot of streamers and stuff talking about the game as if it's like the next big thing. And to be honest, because all of those streamers are saying that it's probably going to be the next big thing, it probably is going to be the next big thing. So a lot of people are going to be investing a ton of time into this game and developing strats and stuff like that. So if you're looking to break into like a competitive pro scene, Valorant is probably your best choice. There's already been like tournaments and stuff that are taking place in NA and EU regions and stuff like that for people who want to take the game seriously and play competitively. I myself took part in one. We got demolished in the first round because I didn't really have sort of like a super structured team put together, but you know, that's a discussion for another video. But yeah, the game has a bright future ahead of it, implying the right things are done. There's definitely a character imbalance at the minute, and I can also see a meta forming pretty fast whenever a ranked game mode gets put into the game. So if we go to collection here and we go to agents, we can see the available agents that we have. So we have Breach. This guy is basically built around stunning and disorientating your enemy. So he's got flashbangs and concusses and stuff like that. The sort of gimmick to him is that you have to use all these abilities through the wall, right? So if you know that there is an enemy on the other side of the wall that you're standing behind, you can flash with his gadget through the wall and then peek said enemy, and then that's how you're going to get the kill and make the most out of this character. Moving on to Brimstone, this guy is all about blocking line of sight and also area denial. He's got a Molotov, he's got a orbital smoke, and he's also got a cool orbital strike ultimate ability. Now, implying you're using it right, you can get a free kill pretty much every single round that you have your ultimate ability available. Now, speaking of ultimate abilities, you're going to get your ultimate more frequently the better you play. So if you drop free kills, you're going to be free points towards getting your ultimate ability, right? So sometimes a character may require free kills, sometimes a character might require 6 kills to get the ultimate. And, you know, killing enemies isn't the only way to get charges towards your ultimate. You can also plant the spike or defuse the spike, stuff like that. So if you are a really good player and you know that you can get a lot of frags in a very short period of time, then choosing a character that has a strong ultimate such as Brimstone or Raze, for example, might be a good pick for you. But yeah, moving on, we've got CYPHER. Now, admittedly, I haven't played a lot of CYPHER, but I think CYPHER is going to be the go-to noob character because he's based around putting traps. He can definitely be very, very, very annoying whenever you're trying to play the game seriously, because if you walk into one of these traps or you get marked by another one of his gadgets, such as the camera, for example, then you're going to be marked and all the enemies are going to be able to see you through walls for a very, very short period of time. If you've played Siege, this guy is basically a mixture between Valk, Kapkan, and Kavera. Now, those are 3 of the most annoying operators in Siege to play against, so you can only begin to imagine how annoying this guy is, on top of the fact that you can also see the enemies that you tag with his abilities through walls. It's kind of crazy. His abilities also work team-wide as well, instead of just being unique to him. I think if they're ever going to go down the route of nerfing this character, they should make it so that only he can see the enemies through the walls, because at the minute, he's super annoying, you know, in my opinion. I hate trap operators in any game. So, you know, that's just me, because I hate it whenever something else is doing the work for you effectively and you're not sort of paying attention to your surroundings. But I understand why he exists. He's to cover the flank and stuff like that, and to get intel on enemies and take advantage of them whenever they make a mistake. But I'm not saying that he's overpowered. I'm just saying that he's annoying to play against whenever you're playing against a decent Cypher. Moving on. We've got JETT here. JETT is your character that everybody is going to insta-lock whenever they get access to this game, and they're probably going to dash in and die with her and think that they're the best player ever whenever they pick up free kills whenever they dash in. This character is based around being agile. She has a jump, she's got a dash, and she has smokes. She also has an ultimate which requires you to be very, very, very precise to land one headshot kills. Basically, you can also right click with it, and then that way you're gonna shoot all of your knives that she brings out at the enemy and probably kill them if you hit them in the chest or something. But other than that, there's not a lot to be said about this character, because she's only impactful if the person playing her is super good. Next up, we've got Omen. Omen is basically Reaper. He can teleport. He's got a smoke, and he can make enemies nearsighted, so basically making it so the enemy can only see, like, you know, in front of them basically, and everything else is dark and it's shadowy and stuff like that. So he's an alright character, but it's pretty obvious when you're playing against him when his abilities are coming. Like, they're pretty telegraphed. He can shoot some abilities through walls, so he's kind of good at faking a sight push and also making it so that you can pull off nasty flanks and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. It's all about your positioning with this character. Positioning and positioning your abilities well is what is going to separate good Omen players from bad Omen players. So yeah, that's basically Omen in a nutshell. Moving on to Phoenix. Phoenix is essentially your entry fragger and area denial operator. He's got 2 flashbangs, he's got a Molotov, he's got a firewall, and he has a self-resurrect. Now, how does self-resurrect works? That's his ultimate ability, so you've got to build up to 6 or 7 kills to get it, and then you can pop it, and then you're in the state of, you know, if you die when you're in this state, you're then going to be rezzed at the position where you popped your ult. So that's Phoenix. He's not too strong, but he can definitely be strong if you have a crazy player playing him. So the Molotov, you know, just blocking off an area for a short period of time is great. The firewall, blocking line of sight and making it so the enemies have to sort of think, like, do I want to push through this? Because they're going to take damage because it is fire. And then, of course, the flashbang. The flashbang is probably the strongest thing in his kit because it's just so quick and it's so snappy to pull off. You can do it around corners. It's a crazy good flash, but the thing is, it doesn't last super long. So you have to, jump on your opponent quickly if you want to make the most out of flashbang. On top of that, his firewall and his Molotov, they heal him as well. So you can get your health back just by standing in your own Molotov or by standing in your own firewall. This is why he's a great entry fragger, because the ability to get your health back, like if you get yourself above 50 HP, that is giving you the opportunity to re-peek an enemy, right? Because we sort of have a rule in first-person shooter games that if you're below 50 HP, you only want to be holding angles, but if you're above it, that's whenever you're in the position to peek. Speaking of peeking, some of the marketing material around this game was all about, you know, we're trying to eliminate peeker's advantage and stuff like that. I think it's sort of BS. I still feel like there's a peeker's advantage in this game. That being said, it's not as noticeable as other games such as Siege. So if you're playing Siege and you're playing against an enemy who has like 150 ping and he peeks you and you, like, you know, run behind cover as you're taking damage, you may still go down while you're behind that cover because, you know, on his screen he hasn't went, you haven't went behind the cover yet, right? So in this game, whenever you get shot, it slows you down. So, you know, it doesn't really feel like there's that much of a peeker's advantage, but I still feel like 9 times out of 10, if you're the person to peek and you have 100 HP or just above 50 HP and your aim is like half decent, you're probably going to be the guy that wins that fight. So I don't necessarily think the peeker's advantage is completely gone. I still think that you're going to be in instances where you get peeked and you die and then you check the person's ping and it's going to be 75 and then it's going to be like, oh, well, that's why that guy won that fight. He's got a considerably higher ping than anyone else in the lobby. So you know, Riot have said that they're like putting servers in a load of different places to sort of like, what's the word? Alleviate that. But we're going to have to wait and see whenever the full game comes out, because this is just a closed beta. Not all of the servers are online yet. They're essentially just stress testing and stuff like that. So we're going to have to wait and see. But from what I've played so far, Peeker's Advantage is still definitely in this game. You're going to get a bunch of people out there who are like, no, Peeker's Advantage isn't in this game, but I still think that it's in this game. 9 times out of 10, the person that peaks is going to be the person that wins. And anytime there's latency in a video game, like, you know, ping, then there's gonna be like a slight advantage to that person that peaks. It's not as bad as it is in the likes of Siege or whatnot, but it's still definitely there. Moving on, we've got Raze. Now, this is the character that everybody is crying about right now. She can be compared to Junkrat. She's got 2 C4s, which she can use to position herself. So you've got to buy that at the start of the round. You can throw these C4s down, use it to get the high ground, or you can use it to sort of propel yourself and then bunny hop to a certain position. Yes, bunny hopping is in this game. It's very similar to CSGO. But Raze is pretty strong. She's got these grenades. She gets 1 grenade at the beginning without having to buy it. And these grenades, implying you position them right, they're basically a free kill because of how powerful they are. So there's the initial explosion, and then it lets out cluster bombs, and these cluster bombs deal a considerable amount of damage as well. If you get caught in the blast and you don't run away from this grenade, no matter if you have no armor or have full armor, you're dead. So this character, very powerful in that sense, where you can just throw grenades down chokes and stuff like that, and basically deal a ton of damage or get a free kill. So she's basically a must pick, at least in my opinion. She's definitely one of the meta characters, I guess you could say. And that's only talking about 2 of her abilities. She's got the ability to position herself well. She's got the ability to get a free kill at the beginning of a round, implying you position your grenades right. She's got this little drone, which you can throw in, and it's going to seek out enemies and go towards them. If it actually gets to said enemy, like it finds them in the little line of sight that it has, and then it goes towards them, it's going to blow up, and it's going to deal a considerable amount of damage to them. I'm pretty sure it kills them every single time. The drone is very easy to counter. All you have to do is shoot it, but of course, if you shoot it, you're giving yourself away to the enemy. So there's that to take into consideration as well. So, without even mentioning her ultimate ability, again, if you use it right, it's pretty much a free kill. You build up the kills that you need to get the ultimate. It's a massive rocket launcher. If you know where the enemy is, let's say, for example, they're peeking a window or something, you bring out this rocket launcher, you shoot it in that window. That enemy, unless they have insane reaction time, they're dead. You know, what they need to add to this ability, I feel, to make it a little bit more balanced, is to make it so that that rocket travels a little bit slower, and also make it so that that grenade, the initial explosion and the little clusters that come out, they need to make that a little bit slower as well. And in that way, this character will be more fine-tuned. But at the minute, she's a little bit on the too strong side because of how easy it is for her to get frags, right? It takes the skill fun out of the game, where the game should be more about, you know, landing nice headshots, nice clean headshots, and holding nice angles and stuff like that. It's more about, okay, I'm Raze, I spam these abilities down this little choke, and that's going to deal a considerable amount of damage. So if that guy is now 25 HP, chances are if I beat that guy, despite my aim maybe being garbage, I'm going to win the gunfight, right? Because even if I land 1 bullet, that guy is going to be dead. So, you know, she's one of those characters which is just too good at the minute to pass up on having in a team. So you're probably going to see her in every single team comp that there is whenever it comes to playing this game, if it doesn't get balanced or fixed come the release. So yeah, there's that. Speaking of characters that you're going to see in every single team, we also have Sage. So Sage is your Mercy off Valorant. She's got a heal, she's got a slow orb, she's got a wall that you can put up, and she's got a resurrection. You should have a Sage in every single team that there is. There's no doubt about it, because the heal allows you to re-peek. Let's say you have a really good player on your team. They peek, they kill 2 players, and now they're 25 HP. You get your Sage player, they heal up that player. Now they're 100 HP. They don't have their armor, but they're 100 health, meaning they can take another fight or 2, right? So you've essentially made it so that your top fragger can get more kills, which is great. So, you know, just for that ability alone, Sage is worth having. Her wall ability, very, very, very strong. You can use it to position yourself, put yourself on high ground. You can use it to block off line of sight. You can even use it to find out where enemies are. If you put up your wall, the enemies can break it by shooting at it or knifing it, and whenever it breaks, it makes a very audible sound. So if you listen out for that sound of the wall breaking, you know that the time limit for the wall isn't up yet. You hear a break, you know that there's an enemy coming from the direction of which you placed your wall. You can orientate the wall in any position that you want, so you can place it vertically, you can place it horizontally, you can place it diagonally. There's no limit to how you can place the wall. Of course, there have been a few instances where the wall has been put in a very sketchy position. So for example, there was the map that has the free bomb sites. I think the name is Haven or something. People were putting the wall on like the slightest little bit of the roof, and they were using the Omen to TP on top of the wall, and that allowed them to get line of sight all the way down A long, so they could peek a person from their spawn essentially. So that was crazy, and I'm pretty sure that that's patched now, but it wouldn't surprise me if more broken angles like that came up whenever the full game came out, because keep in mind, we only have 3 maps available in this beta, so there's probably a lot more broken angles and stuff like that Sage can take advantage of in all these other maps that are going to be released into the full game. So yeah, there's that. She's got her slow orb, which you throw this down, it's going to slow the enemies down, and it's going to make it sound like they're walking on glass, so they're pretty audible whenever they're walking through this like slow orb goo that it shoots out. And then of course we have the resurrection, which is her ultimate. You build up the 6 or 7 kills that it needs. The number escapes me right now which one it is, but you get that amount of kills or that amount of spike plants or whatever. Then you have your resurrection, and it's just, as it says in the box, you res somebody. You take them from dead to alive, give them 100 HP, doesn't give them any armor, and then they get to have the gun that they had before they died. So that's cool. She's a must pick. There's no arguing that whatsoever, at least in my opinion. And she's just a very, very strong character. It's going to be very hard to balance her, I feel. The heal is also on a cooldown. I think it's like a 32 or 36 second cooldown, so you can use it once and then pop it again. It's a heal on your teammate, a heal on yourself. You've got to choose, heal your teammate, heal yourself. It's down to you really, but if you're playing in an organized team and you know someone and your team is popping off, it's probably best to save that heal for them or yourself in a clutch moment or something like that. So yeah, that is that. But moving on, we've got Sova. This is a character that I'm not that big of a fan of. I don't find his abilities to be that impactful. He's got a shock arrow, which is basically a bow and arrow that you have like a shocking arrow attached to, which you shoot, and it's going to, you know, whenever it lands, pulse out a shockwave, which is going to damage enemies. You've got your recon arrow, which is going to set out like a little recon bolt, which is going to pulse 3 times. And then any enemy within line of sight of that is going to be marked. You're going to be able to see that enemy through the walls for a very, very brief period of time. That's all right. You've got this little recon drone that you can send in, and you can mark enemies with it by shooting them. That's also going to allow you to see them through walls. And then you also have this ultimate, which allows you to shoot this big electrical storm through walls. And if you hit an enemy with it, it's going to mark them. You can see them through the wall. You've got 3 shots with it, so you can take your follow-up shot and potentially kill that enemy. It deals a ton of damage, and it's okay. Sova is an okay character. I can see people being crazy with this character. He's definitely high skill ceiling, I would say. And in the wrong hands, he's just kind of meh. He's alright. So, I don't know. I would say the same for Viper, honestly. Viper is one of those characters that if you have a good player playing her, she can be very, very, very impactful. She has the ability to put up a toxic wall, which can block line of sight, can make enemies afraid from pushing through it. She can put up a poison grenade, which whenever enemies walk into it, their health starts to decay. Same with the wall, their health is going to decay all the way down to 1, but then whenever they walk out of it, it's going to start going up again. We've got this little puddle that you can buy. It's like a little wrist-mounted launcher thing. You can shoot out this puddle, and any enemies that walk into it are going to be damaged. They're not going to get their health back from that one, so it's a pretty strong ability. But the thing is, the range on it isn't so big, so it has to sort of be perfectly placed, I guess you could say. It's the equivalent of a molly, right? It's like a toxin equivalent of a molly grenade. And then we have our ultimate, which arguably, not arguably, is definitely the best ability in her kit, which allows you to basically make like this big big toxin cloud around the area that you put it down in, and as long as you're standing inside it, this toxin cloud is not going to go down. Enemies and friendlies that walk inside it, their health is going to decay to 1. So this makes it very, very easy for you as a Viper player. Your health isn't going to go down as you're staying inside this big cloud. Let's say this spike is done, you've got it planted, or you need the retake or something like that. You can like basically cover this entire area in this smoke, which is going to decay everyone's health apart from yours and make it really easy for you to clutch. So, you know, their line of sight is impaired. They can't really see that well when they're in the smoke. And of course, because you're the one who placed the smoke down, you know where the enemies are going to be coming from, presumably. It's going to make it very easy for you to clutch, right? So Viper is very, very strong in that sense, but you need to have a good player playing her to know where to place the abilities and when to use the abilities so you can make the most of her entire kit. So that is pretty much it for all of the characters. I don't think that there's anything that I missed. They're all pretty good, you know. Like, I think that Ryze and Sage are going to be a must pick in every single team comp. Maybe Phoenix as well. Ryze, Sage, Phoenix, maybe Viper, definitely Brimstone. And then you've also got, you know, Breach. So that would be the ones I would go for. So Viper, Breach, Phoenix, Ryze, Sage, you know. All of them are pretty good and you can make things work. It's obviously going to depend on the map. It's going to depend on how you've got your team set up and stuff like that. So yeah, let's take a little minute to talk about the store. So the prices in the store right now are pretty insane. Let's just go ahead and click on this. So this here thing that's loading right now, this is Valorant's premium currency, and here are the prices. So you've got one that's £5, you've got tenner, £20, £35, £50, £100. If you buy this in the closed beta, you're gonna get 20% extra. So that's okay. But people are complaining about the prices. So this is 4,375 to get all of these skins. So it's a pistol skin, 2 pistol skins, sniper skin, 2 rifle skins, and a knife. So that costs, that's 4,375. £50. Crazy, right? If you want to just buy one package to get all of that stuff, that's going to set you back £50. Crazy, just for a set of skins. Of course, there's other skins out there as well, which you can buy, which are a lot cheaper, such as this one, but this one doesn't look as good. And on top of that, there's also ways to evolve your skins as well. So if you go to collection, I did buy a skin. We can take a look at this here. This is the operator, right? So, you know, funny naming, it's called the op. But you can see that I've got a purple version and I've also got a red and black version. And we can hover over this and we can see that it's got like these fancy animations and firing modes and stuff like that. So it lets out this little thing as you fire it. We've got this here as well, which this I believe is the reload. So we shoot, we reload. We've got this fancy animation. Really, really, really cool. I think this is the right way to monetize a first-person shooter by adding in guns that have fancy animations and textures and stuff like that. The way that's monetized in this game, though, I believe there's going to be a season pass, which allows you to get this currency up here in the top right, these little R credits, which you then have to spend to further evolve these skins, right? So we've got this here one right here. This is the death effect whenever you get the final kill in a round. So if we kill this Omen player right here, if he's going to do it anytime soon, he's going to show off the reload again. Get the kill already. There we go. So he's going to like go back in that like little portal thing and, you know, that's him dead. And then of course we've got this red version of the op as well. So I had to use these little R credits here to get these levels off this skin, right? So I had to pay the initial premium currency price, which whatever it was, I believe it was the exact same as this here one, the 4,375, because that was for the Vandal skin, which pretty much does the exact same thing. You know, you've got the fancy reload, you've got the death animation and stuff like that. It's really, really damn cool. You've got it in the Sheriff as well, which is basically your deagle. So you got the fancy reload here as well. I paid for the skins and then I had to pay with these R credits to upgrade them, right? So there's apparently going to be a season pass which you can use to get these R credits, but of course the amount that you can get from the season pass is going to be limited. You can use your premium currency to buy these R credits as well, as you can see. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that works out. Of course, it is going to be a free-to-play game, And if you want to buy these skins, it's totally up to you. You could even argue that the skins maybe disrupt your gameplay and make it a little bit harder to see or hear enemies, depending on who you are. But for some people who, you know, want to buy skins and stuff like that, the pricing might be a deal to them. Some people might think that, you know, the amount that these cost is not acceptable and just never buy them. I don't know. It's going to be subjective. It's going to be down to the player. We're going to wait and see. I've seen a lot of people complaining on Reddit about it already. And the hypothesis is that they're putting out the most ridiculous price first, and then they're going to lower it later. That way making it seem as if the lower price is actually a sweet deal compared to the original price. So that's a thing, but we're just going to have to wait and see. On top of that, you've got the whole FOMO thing going on as well. As you can see, these the store sort of refreshes, right? So the next package of weapon skins is going to be available in 4 days, and we've got another one here which is going to refresh in 23 minutes. That's 1 in the morning for me, BST. So yeah, we've got a cool career profile thing. As you can see, there's a lot of matches here that I've lost, and a lot, well, you can't see all the matches that I've won because that was before all these here really bad matches that I had. But you've got this career profile, and you can view sort of the history of these matches, so you can see, you know, how many times do you get a first blood, or how many times do you win a round whenever you got a first blood, what was your KD, how many times do you know, plant the spike, what was the scoreboard looking like. You know, there's this timeline thing here as well. You've got your performance. There's a lot in here for you to sort of like break down and analyze your stats and stuff like that. There will probably be websites made at a later date that allows you to sort of like break all the stuff down sooner, or just like displays it in a much simpler fashion. But it's nice to have it in game that is just like a click away, if you get what I mean. But yeah, that is pretty much it whenever it comes to the what's it called, the menu and stuff like that. Here are the settings. So you've got your general settings. You got text language, which is English United States. I don't know why that is. Enemy highlight color. You've got your sensitivity. Mine's is 0.2, which is crazy. Scope sense multiplier. You got your minimap. The minimap is always on. You can have it fixed or you can have it rotating with you. I like to have it fixed. We've got our controls on here, which you can modify. Equipment, communication, interface. You can modify your crosshair in games. You don't have to use a console or like a custom workshop map like in CSGO. So that's really, really nice. You've got your video settings. You got your audio settings and stuff like that. Voice quality in game is pretty nice. I've came across a lot of people already who take this game way too seriously, and they're complaining about the performance of teammates in the unrated game mode. So that's a thing. There's definitely going to be endless amounts of toxicity in this game, I can already tell, especially if a meta is made, which it's definitely going to be made, and people aren't sticking to that meta, or people are playing off meta or something like that, especially in your ranked playlist. Like, I can see people just running rampant being toxic. But yep, let's just go ahead and jump into a custom game. So the custom games actually surprised me. There is a decent amount of options for you to play around with if you enable this cheats feature. So if we just go ahead and we press start game, start match, you're going to be able to see that we can just select whatever character. I'm going to pick Sage because she's the most broken in my opinion. And it should put us into the match almost immediately. There we go. So you got this really cool loading screen, which is just the main menu screen, but it's now a loading screen. Lamau. But yeah, we can pause the game. We go to cheats, and we've got a lot of stuff here which we can change. We can turn on infinite abilities, we can turn on infinite ammo, infinite magazines, infinite credits, ignore shopping restrictions and vulnerability, auto respawn. We can swap teams, we can do all that fancy stuff. I'm gonna wait for the prep timer to run out, and you can see, like, here's my Vandal, here's the fancy reload. You can see my custom crosshair that I have in front of me. I can buy my op, I can do whatever. I can spam my abilities, so I can, you know, use my, what's it called? I can't use it right now because it's the prep phase, but you'll be able to see that I can use my slow warp, like, unlimited. So let's just go ahead and go to C-Long over here. So this is your free site map. So we can chuck the slow orb right here, and we can bounce it off a wall and allow it to land where the enemies would be crossing in from, right there. So like if they wanted to peek me, let's say I was playing in C, they wouldn't be able to peek. So there's a lot of what's the word, complexity whenever it comes to the abilities and stuff like that. Like you can do like over the roof slow orbs and smokes and stuff like that, and you can see the trajectory off your abilities and stuff and where they're gonna land. I don't think that one landed anywhere, but let's say we threw that one is probably gonna land somewhere near T-spawn. It bounced off the roof and it landed, yeah, so that one landed like just at those double doors right there. So if they were coming out of here and they wanted to rotate to C, they wouldn't be able to do that because they're gonna have to go through that slow orb, or they could just, you know, maybe walk around it like this because it wasn't perfect. But you get what I mean. There's a lot of different things that you can do with smokes and grenades and stuff like that in this game, because you can just chuck stuff over on the map like you can see, and you know, that was available to do in CS:GO and stuff. So because you've got this cheat option, you can come in here and you can try that out, and you can try making fancy Molotov spots and stuff like that to get enemies out of position and all that there good stuff. So yeah, that is pretty much that. You've also got this wall, which I really enjoy using, or I really enjoy telling my teammates to boost me up somewhere at the start of the round. You can only use one of these walls per round, so what I like to do, especially whenever playing this match, is I come behind this thing, I play on B, and I put a wall up here, and then I've sort of got like a head glitch on the person at the window over there. So usually players will just play up here in the high ground. What I like to do is I sit here, and I'll maybe like crouch here, and then I'll snipe them from there whenever they peek that tight angle there. And then I can, of course, use that. If I start to get pressured, I can use that to cross over here, and I can play back here, and then I can shoot whoever's pushing up the right-hand side of these mid-stairs. So yeah, that's a thing. But I think I mentioned earlier that somebody came up with a crazy angle with Sage where they're able to put like a wall on one of those little things there. So they put a wall up on top of that thing. I don't think I can do it anymore, but they were able to put a wall up on that. And then, yeah, you can see that the little highlights there, but I can't actually click on it. They put the wall up there, and then the Omen player TP'd on top of the wall, and then they were able to see all the way down A long over here, which is, you know, a common place for a player to peek, because they'll expect people coming from this sort of lobby over there, right? So they peek maybe around this corner or something. Maybe they want to protect the ult orb, because this is a thing that you can pick up to get a little point towards your ultimate. You can see like just above my ultimate bar there, down the bottom of the screen, you can see that I've got little diamonds there, and that signifies that my ultimate is ready if they're highlighted. But then, you know, whenever you're playing, they'll be grayed out, so you can come pick up this ult orb, and then you know, you'll have one of those diamonds filled up. And then whenever you have the whatever amount it is to get your ultimate, then of course you'll be able to use your ultimate, and it's a matter of rinse repeat. Not a lot of players actually pick up these ultimate orbs, and I feel like that's what is letting a lot of players down whenever it comes to winning in this game. These ultimate orbs, if you can secure them at the start of the round, or maybe even halfway through a round, or at the end of the round, let's say you have to save or something like that, these can make the difference, because having your ultimate up is of course a lot better than not having your ultimate up. So yeah, there's a lot of little things as well that you may or may not have noticed. So if you pay attention to the minimap, you can see that whenever I'm sprinting around here, you can see this big circle around me, and you can see that the circle goes into T-spawn. That means that if I'm running around here and there's a player in T-spawn, he's going to be able to hear me. But then if I start walking, you see that that's gone, right? So footsteps are completely silent in this game, so that's why that circle is gone. But then if I start running again, people who are playing in Dragon, they're going to be able to hear me. People playing in C long and in the Cubby, people now playing on C, they're going to be able to hear me and stuff like that. So yeah, that is that. But last thing we have to talk about is our, what's it called? Our spike planting. So you can see in the minimap now that I swapped teams, that here is the spike. Now the spike is pretty much the bomb if you played CSGO or whatever. You can plant this anywhere in the yellow area that is highlighted on the map. So if we go in the C, I can plant it for long, right? So I will show you what planting for long looks like. Maybe you want to, you know, set it here. There you go. Now it's planted for long. You can go down long, and you can hold the spike and do whatever. Just watch it. Like so. There you go, and then if somebody peeks you, you can just come back to the left wall and take cover there. But yeah, that is pretty much it whenever it comes to Valorant. You know, there's not much more I can say about it other than the fact that it has a practice range that you can go to as well. Not a lot of games have these from the get-go. So for example, CSGO, you've got to download a workshop. Siege, you've got to play T-Hunt. You know, there's no practice range in there. You just have to play T-Hunt and whatever. And in here you have your unlimited abilities and stuff like that as well. So you can just spam your abilities and fly around and whatever. So yeah, that's Valorant. It's an alright game. I like it. I can't really give you a solid yes or no, this is 110% gonna be a good game until the actual game comes out. You know what I mean? I've enjoyed what I've played so far, but the thing is, we've been playing a casual playlist. We haven't been playing ranked. We don't know if there's gonna be some annoying meta that develops. We don't know if there's gonna be like a meta for every single map. There probably is going to be an annoying meta, and I think the fate of this game really lays in the hands of the developers paying attention, listening, and balancing the characters that are really annoying players. So for example, you know, Riz at the minute, if I can just go ahead and change character, Riz is a character that annoys a lot of players because of this grenade, right? You can throw that grenade and you can see that you've got a ton of explosions. You've got the ultimate as well. You shoot that there out, that's a free kill. You've got these C4s you can just use to like get up anywhere, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm excited for the full game to come out, and I'm excited to start playing competitive. I just hope that this game doesn't turn into one of those games where there is an obvious meta which becomes very, very, very boring later on. I think the gunplay is only going to be able to carry the game so far in terms of enjoyment, because it's satisfying, don't get me wrong. Like whenever you tap someone in the head, for example, you know, it's really satisfying, it's really fun. You've also got the aiming down sights and stuff like that, and you've got the ability to go full auto, and of course you can see that my crosshair, whenever I'm aiming down sights, it's showing me where my bullets are going to be going, but then if I'm spray firing, you can see that it goes over to like in CSGO. So there's two different ways to play. I personally think the people who are going to be running around with aim down sights all the time, 24/7, you're not going to enjoy this game. I think that the people who are used to playing CSGO and they're used to shooting from the hip, you know, those are going to be the people who are going to be way better at this game. So yeah, there's that. And of course there's bunny hopping as well, which is going to give you a slight speed increase. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this first impressions on Valorant. I know it was pretty long. I know it was a lot to take in, but hopefully it gives you a good idea of, you know, what is in the open beta, or not the open beta, well, maybe the open beta, because we don't know when the open beta is going to be a thing, or if it's going to be a thing, but this should give you a good idea of what to expect going into the game, and if you're going to enjoy it or not. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe for more Valorant content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.